everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Remember, nothing can exist without its opposite. God is the host of cosmic celebration. Just as you organize certain functions at your place, so you are the host. So constant celebration is happening in the cosmos, in the existence, and God is the host. Each one of you has to reach the center of celebration. You may call this center or host as consciousness, God. Both host and center are synonymous. Remember, the center of consciousness is one. You can approach or reach it from any direction or through any sense organ. Take, for example, you have a function organized at your home. Many guests are invited. They will come from different directions: north, south, east, west, or the combination of these directions, northeast. They will come from their place to the center where the celebration is going on. They will come in their own vehicle, dressed in their own unique way, carry different gifts, but they have one destination: to reach to your place, one purpose: to join the celebration that is happening at your place. Isn't it so? So too, you can approach God, who is the center of cosmic consciousness or celebration, from any direction. You can use any technique that you may like to use. You can come in different scriptural vehicles. Just as when a function is at your home, you have invited many guests. They are coming from different directions. They will come in their own vehicles. They will be dressed in their own way. But one thing is common. They may have different gifts, but one thing is common. They are all coming to participate in the celebration that is taking place at your place. So God has invited you as a host to be part of this celebration that is happening in His place. That is the cosmic consciousness. You can come from any direction using different techniques. You can use different scriptural vehicles, your Bible, Quran, or Bhagavad Gita, or anything. Will these matter? Any of these things matter? When you reach the center of the host, you have to park your vehicle outside. Can you bring the vehicle inside the auditorium or the place where the celebration is taking place. You have to leave the vehicle there and come without the vehicle. God is the host of celebration. When you reach the center, what is important? That you present yourself in front of the host and participate in the celebration that is taking place. To him, your presence is important, not your brand of the vehicle, how expensive is your vehicle. None of these things matter. Your participation in the celebration, your presence is important, not how you have reached, whether you come in a hired taxi or hopping in a taxi, or you come with your own BMWs or anything else. Such is the way of the masters. Such is the way of the masters. Nothing can exist without its opposite. You are attending a class in a classroom. There is a blackboard. It is called blackboard. Or it can be whiteboard. But to write on the whiteboard, you need a dark color marker or something. Device black is more prominent than any other color. On a blackboard, you have to use white to write it. The opposite is needed there. Without the opposite, there is no possibility of it existing. If there were no center within you, which remains unmoved, the blackboard remains unmoved. Whatever you write on it, it shows. Then you rub off and something else is written. That center that is within you remains unmoved. No movement would be possible there. If there was no center within you, which remains undisturbed, no disturbance could be possible. If there was no blackboard, there is no possibility that anything can be written on it. So if there is not the unmoving center within you, then no movement is possible. If there is no center within you which remains undisturbed, no disturbance could happen to you. Without the blackboard, nothing can be written. Analyze this and observe this. If there were no center of absolute undisturbance in you, there is no possibility for you to be disturbed. If in that particular classroom there was no blackboard or whiteboard, there is no possibility of writing anything on it. You need a comparison. You need 2 points to compare. Suppose a person is ill. How do you know that you are sick? You compare the situation before this symptom came into you, and after the symptom came into you. There is a base blood pressure, a range, and when you have a high or low blood pressure, it is measured. That comparison makes you aware that you have a high blood pressure or low blood pressure. How is that you know about ache, headache or stomach, if you were the headache, you could not know it. You must be someone else who is feeling that there is a headache. You are what is needed: observer, witness, who can say, my head is hurting. Without that observer who is observing the two situations, the situation when there is ache and the situation when there was no ache. This ache can be felt only by someone who is not ache. If you are ill, you are feverish, you can feel it only because you are not the fever. Fever is happening to you, but you are not fever. You are hungry. Hunger is happening to you. You know hungry because you know the situation when you were satiated. Fever cannot feel that there is fever. Hunger cannot feel that there is hunger. Someone has to be there to feel hunger in you. You must be someone else. You may not look at this point. That is another thing. You may not see yourself at that point. That is another thing. But there always is a pristine purity. It is there. The sutra says, in the moods, in the moments of extreme desire, be undisturbed. What can you do? This technique is not for suppression. This technique is not saying that when there is anger, suppress it. It simply says remain undisturbed. It does not say that you react out of it. No. If you suppress, you will create more disturbance within. If anger is there and effort is there to suppress it, it will double, it will increase the disturbance in quantum. When anger is there, close your doors. Meditate on the anger. Allow the anger to be. Remain undisturbed by it. And do not suppress it. I'll tell you, whenever I feel feverish or any situation or sore throat or anything, I just do not, I lock myself into solitude. So it is at that time many sympathizers will come to sympathize with you. At that time, it is very important for me to be by myself. So I point out to the one that I can speak, I can call you, I have a phone, I can send you the message, just keep water by me, and that is it. Let me treat myself. If it is easy to suppress, because at that time you want to know why this person did not come to inquire about your sickness, or that, all that is not necessary. It is easy to suppress it is easy to allow the people to come to inquire your condition, sympathize with you, but that is not the way to work through it. It is easy to suppress. We do both. We suppress if the situation allows us to suppress. If your boss is getting angry, you suppress it. And if it is convenient and not dangerous, if you are angry with your employee, your subordinate, it is convenient and not dangerous for you, you can express it. You can harm the other, but the other cannot harm you. You will express the anger. It is dangerous. If the other can harm you more, if your boss or whoever you are angry at is stronger than you, then you will have to suppress it. Expression and suppression both are easy. In front of your boss, you will suppress it. In front of your subordinate, you express it. But witnessing the third possibility is difficult. Witnessing is neither suppressing nor expressing. Then what it is? It is not suppressing because it is not expressing, because you are not expressing it to the object of anger. When you do not express it to the object of anger, it is not expressed. It is not suppressed because how it can be not suppressed? Your boss is saying something. You are allowing it to be expressed. Expressed in an emptiness, in a vacuum. You are meditating. You are not saying anything, but at the same time you are watching what is going on within you. Not that when you reach, you express it at your wife. Wife will not say anything to you, may not. She will express it at her little child. The child will express it over towards her, towards the toy or the doll or anything else. In front of your boss, you are allowing him to express. And it is expressing in a vacuum. You are meditating. Stand before a mirror and express your anger. Then they tell you, when you are angry or anything, go and chop the wood or till the soil. Stand before a mirror and express your anger. Be a witness to it. You are alone. So you can meditate on it. Do whatsoever you want to do, but in a vacuum. If you want to beat someone, beat the empty sky. Beat the empty sky. Want to get angry? Be angry. If you want to scream, scream. But do it alone. There is a particular Sufi meditation called gibberish. There is a place called Jibar, and one Sufi used to live there, so nobody knows his name or anything. All know that he came from this town of Jibar, so that is why his technique is known as gibberish. It is words are fumbling. You cannot make sense out of those words. He used to sit in the night under the sky and used to say whatsoever comes to his mind. This is known as gibberish. The anything that is not making any sense, because in a state of anger you fumble, words do not form and nobody can understand what are you saying. Remember yourself as a point which is seeing all this drama that is happening. Then it becomes a psychodrama and you can laugh at it, and it will be a deep catharsis for you. When you express it in front of the mirror, Osho has introduced a dynamic meditation where you activate your body through breathing, then through catharsis you use the words or whatsoever, the bodily action or anything to express that. So what will happen? It will not harm anyone. Afterwards, when all this happened, you will feel relieved of it. Not only relieved, you will have gained something through it. You would have matured. A growth will happen to you. And now you will know that even while you were in anger, there was a center within you that was undisturbed and that was watching all that happening. Now try to uncover this center more and more, and it is easier to uncover it when a desire is arising. That is why Tantra is not against any desire. It says be in the desire. But remember the center which is within you undisturbed. So Tantra says that even sex can be used for transformation. Move in sex, but remain undisturbed. Be a witness that certain things are taking place at the level of the psychology, at the level of the body. Go on being a deep observer to it. Allow these things to happen and you are witnessing it. Whatsoever is happening on the periphery and you are just a spectator. You can do this. Sit down and close your eyes and feel that slowly and slowly you are feeling aroused, alone by yourself. Sensations are taking place in different parts of the body. You are witnessing it. Sooner or later you will observe that there is calmness. This technique can be very useful and of much benefit can happen, because much benefit can happen through it to you. It will be difficult, but it will be difficult because when you become disturbed, you forget everything. You say that, let me get angry and I will talk about meditation. Forget about meditation, that is not important, I want to get angry. That's not. You may forget that you have to meditate. Then try it in this way. Don't wait for the moment when anger happens to you. Don't wait for the moment when you are feeling aroused. In that situation, it is difficult. Just close the room and think of some past experience of anger when you were mad. Remember it and reenact it. When you are in this act of sex, aroused at that time, this is difficult. So after the act is over, you are sitting in your room in a meditative position. Now you are enacting that scene when you were having sex or making love. Think of the past experience, whatsoever the desire is. When you were mad out of anger, when you were very aroused out of sexual desire, remember it and enact it. What you have done at that time when sex took over you, and how you were enacting in that, whatever sounds, whatever the body movements, enact this all. That will be easy for you. Reenact it again, do it again, relive it. Each time when you are in meditation, relive it. Do not just remember it, relive it, as if you are going in the act of sex. Remember that someone has insulted you, and what you said and how you reacted, enact it again. When you were in the act of sex, aroused, what you did, how you did it, what happened, enact all that. It will be easier. Do it as many times as you can until you know a situation will come when even during the act of anger, when it is happening, during the moment when sex is actually happening, you can be separate from that. The waves are arising on the surface, but you are at the center, undisturbed. You may not know that mind is just a tape recording device. And now scientists say, now it is a scientific fact as well, that if your memory centers are touched with electrodes, you start replaying those memories. So consciously you are touching those centers of the memory. You know that you had an act of sex. It was very fulfilling. Enact that when you are alone. And it is easy, you try it and you will be able to succeed in that. Start replaying it. For example, you were once angry. The incident is recorded in your memory. The same sequences as it happened, just as if the tape recorder is playing your brain. I am talking to you now. This is live streaming. Whatever is being streamed is recorded. You can replay it. In the same way, your mind, the act of sex is live streaming. Although it is not recorded, as this particular streaming is recorded through Facebook, through YouTube, on Skype it is not recorded. But through the other two devices it is recorded. You can replay it at your convenience. In the same way, that act of sex that you have performed, the anger that has happened to you once, you are enacting it. It is recorded, the incident is recorded in the same sequence as it happened. So you are going into that recording. When you are listening to this pre-recording, you are going the way the program, the streaming began, with a welcome message. Then the message, God is the host, you are going through all these situations. How did your spouse started the act? What did you do? How it happened? You are enacting all that. The same sequence as it happened, just as if the tape recorded of your brain is being replaced or being played. It is touched by an electrode. Science says if you touch the electrode at a particular memory center, it will start activating. It will start replaying. You have the same feeling again. The eyes will go red when you are enacting anger. The eyes will glow when you are enacting the act of sex. The body will start waving. Body will start trembling because of anger. Exactly the same thing will happen. When you have not gotten the opportunity to be available to the live streaming, you are listening to everything in the same sequence, the same duration. Same duration it will take for everything. When this particular sentence happened at the 15th minute, so this here, everything will happen in the same sequence. You will have the same feeling again. Your eyes will glow. Your body will start feeling whatever the tape is being played. If you are playing today's live streaming, everything will go what I spoke in the live streaming at every moment of this streaming. In the same way, everything will start enacting, coming in front of your eyes. The audio visual. You may hear even the sound, your own sound of screaming, out of ecstasy, out of anger. All this will start happening. The moment the electrode is put away, it stops. You press the button, it stops. If you give it energy again, it starts from the very beginning again. Now, they say the mind is a recording machine. It goes on recording. Everyone has a scar in his mind. Unhealed wounds are there. If you enact them, you will be unburdened. There are memories of sex. That is why it is said sex is more psychological than a physical act. If you can walk at the psychological level, you need not go into the physical act. Need not go into the physical act. You can go to your past, to something that has remained incomplete in your relationship. You will be unburdened of the past. That unlived past of any relationship keep on surfacing again and again. You go on overlooking that. Your mind will become You can unburden it by reliving it. I have pointed out to many that use this meditation. Your mind will become fresher, dust will be thrown away. Remember, it is your past, something which you feel has remained suspended, remained hanging, remained unfulfilled. You want to kill someone, you wanted to love someone, you wanted this and that, but that has remained incomplete. You wanted to experience sex in a particular way, but it did not happen. You did not get the fulfillment through that act enacted. That complete thing, that incomplete thing goes on hovering in your mind like a cloud. It influences everything that you are and you are doing. Even your walk, your every movement will be guided by that experience, that emotion, unfulfilled sexual desire, suppressed sexual desire, suppressed anger. You are not healed. You may pretend. So when you are doing these, and these wounds which are still green in you, do you want them to remain oozing the pus out of you, or you want these to be healed completely? And the moment you are going into this meditation, enacting all those unfulfilled moments, you will become more and more whole, and through this you will have a knack how to remain undisturbed in a situation which is disturbed. So in moods of extreme desire, be undisturbed. For this you have to do this meditation. Go in, enact your moments of anger, enact your moments of love making, sex. Gurdjieff used this technique very much. He created situations, but to create situation, a school is needed. You cannot do this on your own. Gurdjieff had a small school, and he was the task maker. He knew how to create situations. At times, create the situations. He would enter the room and a group would be sitting there. You would enter the room where a group is sitting. Someone would be done so that you will get angry, and it was a device for Gurdjieff. So sometimes Master uses a situation consciously, and at times existence creates situations consciously for you. Someone would insult you by saying something and you would get disturbed. Then everyone would help the disturbance, everything, and you would become mad. And when you were right at the point where you could explode, Gurdjieff would shout, "Remember, remain undisturbed." That was the technique that he used. A situation can be created, but only in a communion, in a school where many persons are working on themselves. And when Gurdjieff will shout, "Remember, remain undisturbed," now you would know that this was a created situation. The disturbance cannot disappear so suddenly, So immediately, because it has physical roots, your glands has thrown poison in the blood. Your body has become affected. This is what happens. The more the fluid has flown in, is released into your body when there is arousal. So you have to start enacting, reliving. You can help your family, can become your school. You can help one another. Husband and wife can help one another. Friends can become a school, they can help one another. You can decide with your family, the whole family can decide that now a situation has to be created for the father or the mother, and then the whole family will create the situation. When the father or mother goes completely mad, then everybody will start laughing and saying, remain completely undisturbed. You can create the situation. You can allow your spouse to create the situations to arouse you, and then let the person be in meditation. Husband and wife can help one another. Friends can one another. And it is a wonderful device, a technique. In the West, now one technique which is known as therapeutic technique is used. It is called psychodrama. It helps, and it is also based on the technique like this. In psychodrama, you just enact, you just play a game. In the beginning it is a game, but sooner or later you get possessed by it. And when you become possessed, your mind starts functioning, because your mind and your body function automatically together. So if you see an actor acting a psychodrama who in a situation of anger really becomes angry, you may think that he is simply acting, but it is not so. He might have really become angry. It may not be acting at all. You are possessed by the desire, by the disturbance, by the feeling, by the mood, and he is really possessed. Only then does the acting look real. Your body cannot know whether you are playing or you are actually doing it. You may have observed yourself at some time in your life, you are just playing at being angry, and you did not know when the anger became real, or you were just playing and you were not feeling sexual. You were playing with your wife or with your spouse, then suddenly it became real. The body takes it over. The body can be deceived. The body cannot know whether it is real or it is unreal, particularly when it comes to sex. If you imagine that your body thinks it is real, then sex is one of the most imaginary centers in the body. So just by imagining, you can have a sexual orgasm. You can deceive the body In dream you can have a sexual release. Sometimes people experience that in dream. Even in dream, the body is deceived. You are not making love to anyone, just in dream, in fantasy, in imagination, you are making love. But the body can release the sexual energy, and even a deep orgasm can be felt at that time. What is happening? How is the body deceived? The body cannot know whether it is real or it is not unreal. Suddenly you are dreaming that you are making love to your spouse. It does happen sometimes to the people. Once you start doing something, the body thinks it real and starts behaving in a real manner. Psychodrama is a technique based on such methods. You are not angry, you are simply acting anger, and then you go into it. But psychodrama is beautiful because you know that you are simply acting, and then on the periphery, anger becomes real, and just behind it, you are hidden and looking at it. Now you know that you are not disturbed, but the anger is there, the difference is there, the disturbance is there, yet disturbance is not. Yet on the periphery there is a sex act, but at the center there is no act. The feeling of the two forces, feeling aroused and knowing that it is not real, are working simultaneously, and this gives you a transcendence. When you go into meditation that way, you are sitting with your eyes closed, you are enacting the act of sex. It has begun at the level of psychology. Body will not know whether it is real or not. So at the body level, it may become real at a certain moment, as it happens when you are dreaming. There is a sexual release of energy. But at the same time, the two things are happening simultaneously. You know it is not real, but at the level of the body, it is happening. So in that moment, transcendence is possible, not otherwise. Then there is in real anger, also you can feel it. Then this is, you are enacting the act of love making. Then this will naturally become your way of life when you are actually making love or having sex. Psychologically, you have gotten into it. Two things are happening. You are witnessing it, and it is happening at the physical level. So at physical level, whatever is needed, they release at the level of the body, at the level of the whatever is to happen. Your bodily movements will happen, that will be real. But at the level of psychology, there you will be meditative. So when it is said how to be meditative when you are in act of sex, through this you can be. This feeling of the two forces working simultaneously gives you a transcendence. And this is very important. Transcendence happens When two things are simultaneously happening, you are imagining the act of sex. Nothing is happening at the level of the body, but the body is affected by it. Certain things begin to happen at the level of the body. So, two forces are working simultaneously, and in that transcendence is possible. Once you know how to feel, you can feel it in the real situation as well. Use this technique. This will transform, change your total life. When it was said that transcendence beyond sex, how? This is the way. Use this technique and it will change you. It will transform you. Once you know how to remain undisturbed, the world is not misery for you. You will not remain engrossed in the act of sex. Then nothing can create any confusion in you. Really nothing can hurt you. Now there is no suffering for you. Once you know, you can do another thing. So you will not be engrossed in sex. Gurdjieff used to do it. He was able to change the face at any moment. He would be sitting in the room talking to his friends. All of a sudden, door opens and someone flutters in. Gurdjieff, who was smiling with the people sitting in the room, suddenly he will look at the person and show an angry face. Sometimes you would have known the psychology of the mother. Mother is talking to someone with a happy face. All of a sudden she looks at the child who is making mischief and she gives him a glance without any cause. And it is reported about him that he became so proficient in this art that if two persons were sitting near him on each side, he would be angry with half of his face and he will be smiling with the other half of the face. Women are very efficient in this. They are talking to someone. You are talking to your friend very lovingly. All of a sudden, the child is making mischief, or husband comes in, anger comes in, the tone of the talk may change for a moment. Gurdjieff was a beautiful man, and the other this was the device that he uses. Once you can detach your center from the periphery, you can do it. And doing this meditation, if you are really interested in doing it, you can do it with me. I can be available and you can do it. Once you remain detached, your center remains detached from the periphery. Once center is detached completely, you can remain undisturbed in anger, undisturbed in any moment when the moods are changing. You can play with the desires, you can play with anger, you can play with disturbances, you can play with sexual desire even. The technique is to create the feeling of two extremes within you. They are there like polar opposites. Once you become aware of this polarity, you become for the first time the master of yourself. Otherwise, others remain master of you and you just remain a slave. Your wife knows, your son knows, your father knows, your friend knows that you can be pushed and pulled. You can be disturbed. A stone can be thrown into your tranquil water. Ripples will arise onto the surface. The person who seems to be very pleasant looking, with a simple gesture, a word, I can create the whole lot of disturbance cyclone within him, within that person. You can be disturbed, you can be made happy or unhappy. If someone else can make you happy or unhappy, you are not a master, you are simply a slave. And this is what each one of us are. The other has a remote control in his hand to turn on your screen. Just by a single gesture, he can make you unhappy. Just with a small smile, he can make you happier. So be a master of yourself. Just you are at the mercy of someone else. The other can do anything for you, anything to you. And if this is the situation, then all our reactions are simply reactions, not actions. Simply react. If someone insults you, you become angry. Your anger is not an action. It cannot transform anyone. Gurdjieff's anger can transform anyone. But if the anger can be used as a device. Normally everyone says that who do not understand this, oh, he gets angry very quickly. If someone appreciates you and you start smiling and feeling good, great, it is a reaction, not an action. It is not an explosion of inner joy. Buddha was passing by a village and some people gathered. They were against him and insulting him. Buddha listened and then said, I am to reach to another village in time. So can I go if you have finished all that you have to say? If it is finished, I can move on. And if you still have something to say to me, please wait while I am returning. I will pass through this village. You can come and tell me whatever remain unfinished. You can tell me that. Those persons were just surprised. They could not understand. They have been insulting him with bad words, abusing him, and he said, but we are not saying something to you, we are abusing you, we are insulting you. Buddha said, you can do that. If you want any reaction from me, it is too late now. 10 years ago, if you had come and said these words, I would have reacted. But now I have learned how to act. I am a master of myself. So remember, are you a master of yourself? Or you have given the remote to the other to change your screen? Now you cannot force me to do anything. If I decide to do something, it is out of my own free will, for the transformation of your consciousness, so that you can what has happened to me can happen to you as well, through this act, through this anger. So you will have to go back. You cannot disturb me. Nothing can disturb me now because I have known my center. This knowledge of the center, this grounding in the center makes you the master. Through any desire, through anger, any mood, through desire, through sex. Sex is easiest. Anger is easiest because everyone gets angry. Everyone feels aroused and feels the need for sex. Through this mood, you can attain to your center. You can become the master of your center. Otherwise, you will remain slave. Look at the people, they are slave to their moods, slave to their anger, slave to sexual desires. Are you a master of it? Or if you want to be a master, you have to go through, understand it clearly. Everything is a master and you are a slave to the whole universe. Obviously, you will be in trouble with so many masters pulling you. Anger is pulling you on one side. Frustration is pulling you on another side. Sexual desire is pulling you in another direction. So many directions and dimensions you are pulled. You are never together. You are not unity. And pulled in so many dimensions, and that is the cause of anguish. Only a master of oneself can transcend anguish and different moods, desires. Understand this. And if you have any question, you can ask further. Based on your response, I may take this from a different angle with a little more explanation, because I wanted, this is the end of the last day of this weekend live streaming. So maybe certain things could have explained further, were not because of the time constraint. So until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.